It's like I want to welcome everyone. We're World Bnei Akiva. Why is it called World Bnei Akiva? Because you guys are coming from the world. Is that right? I mean, I assume they didn't call it that just because they wanted some globalist agenda or something. I think they were trying to bring together the Jewish people globally, and one of the ways to do that is how you, as we said, brand yourself. Each of you have your own personal brands. We're going to discuss today, we're going to go over what we mentioned last week. I put it up on the Zoom and I recorded it. End in mind. You ever heard of this concept, end in mind, having a mission statement? And that goes together with the concept of a brand. Everyone here needs to know what their purpose is. Otherwise, even though you're young, fair enough, I was 18, I was still working it out. It doesn't mean you have to have it sorted. But you have to have some sort of idea of direction, what you're doing. All of you, including me. And right now, yes, brother. Right now we're in a situation where we're faced by people who totally know what their mission is. Hamas, Mechina, they know what their mission is. They have a mission. They've been planning this for years. Everything that's going on right now. Obviously, it's not going completely foolproof because they're as great as mission anyone can have, there's going to be challenges, and they're having theirs. And we pray for them to fail and all their mission and all their plans to fall apart. But what we experienced a week ago, and you guys were all in my community, you were all in Shirat David, is that right? Everyone was there? In a frat? Yeah. You saw me with my nice big furry hat, yeah? You weren't expecting that, I'm sure. Unless you've been checking me out online. Yeah, the furry hat, the strimal, a full get-up. So that's a story in itself, how I ended up there. I don't know if I got into it last time because we were talking about relationships. I wasn't talking about Chassidut or anything like that. Because when I come with you guys, I want to talk what's going to be relevant for you. If you're interested, you have questions, we can go into anything. We can talk about anything. But my focus, at least the first part of the class, is to get a certain concept out there. I want to touch base with where you guys are at. I'll be honest, I did some serious research the last month. It was pretty painful, I have to say. Yeah, I love the fact that this guy's laughing. Because he's thinking, this is an intimacy class, so what does it mean, research, yeah? He's still laughing. Good. I want to make you laugh. We need to have some humor right now. And one of the ways I did research in the intimacy topic, obviously other than being married and having a wife, is I did research in where you guys are being fed from the media, which is probably the most popular streaming app is Netflix. Maybe there's competition, Amazon Prime, or there's other people out there who are doing pretty good content. But as far as I know, the top on the list of what people are streaming nowadays is Netflix. Is that correct? Yeah. Probably the biggest streaming app. So I went onto there and I had a look around at what discusses intimacy, and who would guess, no cheating, who would guess what did I, because he might have heard my class, maybe some of you listened in anyway, but I don't care if you know. If you know, it makes me happy that you were listening last week's. But what was I researching? What was the Netflix series that would fit what we're discussing here? Huh?
Sex education.
Thank you, brother.
I just finished the last episode.
Perfect timing. The man in Quator, T-shirt, Airways, and he just watched the last episode of the 4th series, so I know what I'm talking about. And it got to the point that even Eric wants to become a preacher. That's how much I know. Yeah. Okay. He's the gay dude. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, without getting into all the characters and all the storylines, because it's not the point of this, what we're doing here, I took out my time. Now, I had to obviously fast forward many times because it does give you a warning of sex and nudity. And, hopefully with the beard and the tzitzis and the strimal and Shabbos, I'm not watching the sex and the nudity. It doesn't really go together, yeah? You understand that? But the concepts, the mindset... haven't been well, sorry man. The mindset of Netflix to focus in on intimacy in that way, especially the fact that it's called sex education, is already showing us
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we're discussing sex education.
How are you?
You know what that is?
Of course I do.
Ah, yeah. This holy man. Yeah. So look, we're all in. I have to say, I have to give you guys credit. Like, Baruch Hashem, some of you guys know what this series is about on Netflix. But you've also had Elul, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot, Simchas Torah, which we can combine together. Yes, brother. We can combine it together with Shmini Atzeret. You've had a war, a real war. Like, not like, like one of these missile attacks happens like one morning, 1 week, in the middle of whenever. You're in the middle of an actual real war. This is a real war. And, for example, my oldest son, is on the front. He was up first guarding up north, and we'll dedicate this class to him and all the soldiers defending our people, defending Israel. Yeah, Baruch Yitzhak ben Masha, my son, was up north in Lebanon. He's part of San Chanim, paratrooper unit, and he was up there shooting down drones from the Lebanon border. And now, he's on the border of Gaza waiting to go in. I do not know what they're waiting for. And trust me, the sentiment in his unit, for sure, is they just want to go in already. They want to
kill people. That's
not just kill people, they want to kill the enemy. People not. Enemy, yeah. That's important. One of the famous songs, I was really into a band called Rage. They're not the most kosher band, but there's a good song there, Know Your Enemy. You have to know who your enemy is. And right now, Hamas is our enemy. And it's not just in the news. Hamas is our enemy, is also our enemy in the Parsha, and it's going to connect into intimacy. You can listen on if you don't make it back, no problem. Yeah? Hamas is our enemy in the Parsha, it's in the intimacy realm. How is Hamas connected to intimacy? So I was just listening to a guy called Gedalia Fenster, and this is going to explain this Netflix series a little bit as well, where they went wrong, unfortunately, at least for us as the Jewish people. That Hamas get their energy from us not being holy, not being like having intimate relationships in the right way, in the right time, with the right person. They get their spiritual energy in the negative sense from that. Now, that means, as kol hakavod to my son who's on the front, and big up respect to all those soldiers, but that makes us all soldiers, yeah? As long as you're a human being and you have ability to procreate, which most of us do, thank God, you have a sexual energy, which if you use right, makes the world a better place. And if you use wrong, gives power to people like Hamas. So you say, what's connected to my personal purity and Hamas? So we know in this week's Parsha, what happened to the Hamas when they were Ba'aretz, they were in the land. What happened? What did God do to that whole reality of people that were stealing each other's wives and playing around, and every virgin had to sleep with what happened? They all got killed, yeah. How? Through a flood. Now we've been promised, thanks to the rainbow flag, and I don't mean the gay pride one, I mean the actual rainbow, we've been promised that the covenant, the bris between us, the kesher, this rainbow that Hashem would never do that to us again. He's never going to bring a flood that destroys the whole world except for, now you might say, I'm not so sure, I believe it. All right, it's in the Parsha. We're Jewish. We just went through Rosh Hashanah and Kippur Sukkos. We've seen miracles. We know this is something that's real time. It's streaming now, Parshas Noach. And Hamas in the land, yeah, are making trouble. So now let's bring it into the end of mind. We mentioned before, we're going through the 10 habits or 7 habits of Stephen Covey, the 10 habits of truly effective Jews or Jews, however you want to call it, my version. The idea of end in mind. Do you have a mission statement? Do you have a goal? Now, as I said, Hamas have their goal. They want to wipe us out, kill us, finished. As everyone knows, yeah. But there's no like,
from the river to the sea.
Yeah. There's no moral, and then they're all singing around the whole world, as our friend just mentioned. There's no moral like equivalence. Like, I know there's different opinions out there, but just realize, guys, that it's a very clear mission by them. And the Jewish people also have a mission. To be light to the nations, as we have more Nobel Peace Prize people, we have geniuses, we can hopefully, with the help of God, cure cancer and bring all kinds of amazing blessings to the world. That's what our job, yeah? We do like amazing things. That's the Jewish people. We're the top in high tech. We're going to help the whole self-driving car go into reality, and you can just go through each technology. There's a Jew there. Every technology company has a Jew involved. Every high-level development, emotionally, spiritually, there's Jewish people there. The whole mindfulness movement was run by Jews. Yeah, did you know that? The whole mindfulness. Yeah, they're all like sound. I once was listening to a guy called Tim Ferriss. He has a beautiful podcast, very intelligent. Check out Tim Ferriss, a very worthwhile listening person to listen to. And he had a bunch of Jews on his program, and he said, I just want to ask, why is it that all the mindfulness leaders sound like lawyers? Why? Because they're all Jewish. And they've got these lawyer-sounding names, because Jews happen to also be lawyers as well, as we know. So now, let's accept who we are. Let's be real with that reality. That it's not something to be unproud. It's actually something to be very proud of. Am Netzach. Yeah, we're the eternal nation. You know, we need to get into that mindset. We need to get the morale in a high place right now. We need to know what we're here for. So all of you are on the front lines, not with the guns, but by working on yourself, becoming better people, being supportive to your friends who are on the front lines, letting you know your family back there. You're all like ambassadors for Israel right now, because people are asking you, yeah? I was getting phone calls on Shabbos when it happened. I was getting messages. My wife knows because the phone, we had to turn it on. I was getting phone calls the whole Yom Tov, second day of Yom Tov, non-stop from everyone, messages. Like the whole world suddenly wakes up that I exist, and I'm still getting messages from people that I haven't spoken to for who knows how long. And they're suddenly, are you doing all right? Everything all right? I mean, I don't know how many times you get in those questions. So you've got like a chance right now to like be an ambassador, to say something meaningful to these people. Not just, yeah, I'm all right, you know, like superficial, whatever. No, there's much more to than just being all right. There's like a real situation going on here, and I'm really feeling it. And I want you guys back there to be awake as well, and to realize this is a global thing. There's also protests in your neighborhood, and you know, in London there's protests, and in America there's protests against us as a people, as a right to exist in the Holy Land. And we have to realize this has now become a global phenomenon. This is just like before the war of, you know, the Second World War. Like the world's waking up either to destroy us or help us, and people are choosing sides. It's happening. Like I just did a video and I mentioned the fact that they changed Jordan Peterson's name to Judan Peterson. Why? Because he came out pro-Israel. So they called him Judan Peterson. Who called him? The anti-Semites. Yeah? This is like real stuff happening on all the levels of society. It's not just like an Israel issue. So even if they only talk about it for half an hour on their podcast like Joe Rogan did, and then he goes off for another 3 episodes and hardly talks about it, and he doesn't even really choose sides even, he just sort of stays somewhere in the middle. But the point is, it's on everyone's mind. Everyone's been affected by it, everybody. So they have their end in mind. They know what their mission statement is. Our mission statement has to be something significant, real. We spoke about it a little bit in the other classroom because they had a mission statement for Bnei Akiva, yeah? There is a mission statement somewhere. Yeah, remember it? Okay, so it's important that they do that. You stick it on the wall, like we said, Bnei Akiva, Mechina, is preparing you for something. Like this is, you have to understand these words are not just put there for fun or because someone just thought, you know, we're just making an organization. There's usually a lot of intention and thought behind it. If you have a corporate company, their mission statement, they will have a whole team of experts to decide how they're going to brand and organize their mission for their company. So each of us individually, even in a certain way, we have to take it seriously. It's an important aspect of our life to give ourselves a purpose and mission. And in this week's parsha, we see, for example, Noach. He has his mission. Now, he doesn't get it quite right. We know that. He doesn't save the world. Yeah, that's where he's criticized for, meaning only him and his family survived, and the animals and the life force other than humanity. The rest of humanity is destroyed. So he doesn't succeed in that mission. Second one, he comes out and he starts getting a bit drunk. You know, the alcohol comes in, and then he doesn't succeed in repopulating the world the best way. So then we're going to have some of those issues that were left before are going to come back out into the new world. Yeah, and we're still dealing with that now. Why? Because one of his sons was Ham, and Ham is the root word for Hamas. Ham is the root word, is the shorish. Remember in Hebrew everything's root. The root word for Hamas. So Hamas comes out from this nation of Ham, this nation that are into warmth and misabusing this holy part of humanity, and as they did. Everyone knows what they were doing. I don't know if you've seen some of the interviews of the terrorists. Don't look at the images, they're horrible, but if you have, like the terrorists, after they've been captured and interrogated, I've seen a bunch of them, and they are so nonchalantly talking about the raping they did, and the killing, and the beheading, and don't want to get too graphic, but by them, this is the mission. Yeah? Now, would any of you do any of that? No. Okay, you're not going to rape, you're not going to behead anyone, you're not looking to kill like in a merciless way, you're not looking to kill innocent people. Our nation are not like that. We're different. Yeah, we have a different mission statement.
They're raised like that's how they're raised, literally.
Yeah.
As soon as they're born, they're raised to kill that.
And what are we raised to do? To defend ourselves. So we're not raised to kill.
We're not raised to kill.
No, our army is IDF, is the Israel Defense Force. We're only defending, never attacking. Never happened. So you already see just in our mission, even the name of the IDF, it has a mission. We're defending, not attacking. Hamas is violence. That's what it means, or stealing. Yeah? So they have in their name their mission. Or Ham, which is to overly warm up towards desires that are not good. Our mission statement is shame, the name, purpose, having name, being Yehudim, Semites. That's why anti-Semite come from shame. Yes, shame from this week's parsha, Noah's son, shame. Same, he was a Semite. Yeah, and one of the things that people are talking all about now, anti-Semitism, I want to give it one extra level. Let me tell you what my mission statement is. Yeah, and then we'll hear a little bit if you guys have any of your mission statement. My mission statement is soul. I want to bring more soul to the world. That's why I'm busy with the Unity booking stuff. I want to bring artists, musicians, speakers. I don't know, have any of you seen Rudy Rochman on the news, Brown? Yeah. He's an activist, so he's one of my boys. I was meant to I just saw him at the Moshe Fest, and we had a nice cuddle there, and he's moved to Yerushalayim, and now he's on the front lines. And his tour, obviously, is delayed. We're going to do something in England. We're going to have to wait till the right time and do it in the right time in England. That's what I was helping him with. He'll have a tour in the US. Hopefully he'll get through this war, and we can do amazing things with him. His fame has already gone way up from this whole experience because he's really able to vocalize our message as a people, and he's a great ambassador. And I'm very proud to have him on part of my story. He's one guy, Rudy Rochman, yeah? Another guy, Shlomi Zion's just starting to talk now. You'll start seeing him around. Who else from my crew? They're maybe not doing as much as everyone should be. I'm trying to put out the word personally. But the main point of my mission statement is bringing souls together that represent good values, unity, soulfulness. So now, if I would tell you, Hitler, was he a soulful guy? Machshama, yeah? And who would he support in this current situation? Where does his mission statement align with?
I don't think he would support them, to be honest.
Huh?
I don't think he would support them.
You literally do exactly what they did.
No, but it's against his ideology too.
That's a good point. There is obviously, he was an Aryan person who believed in Aryan people.
At the end of the day, it's just being Jews, that's all he wants.
Okay, so that point I would agree. You'd agree? That point would be like, yeah. Okay, so, excuse me. So now, by the way, I did bring some drink, just didn't get very far. Yeah. He asked me that, sorry man, if it was allowed, I'd bring a few stacks. Yeah. Don't drink and teach, and yeah, I don't think they'd like it. Anyway,
we won't say anything.
If it drinks it now,
yeah, I did that in a yeshiva, and eventually someone did say something. Yeah. You'd think no one would say something, but there's always some.
We don't have a drink. Or so.
Oh yeah. Oh, no one's around right now.
No, they're on that.
They're like all of them are in New
That would have been the time.
So now,
No, Simchat Torah would have been the time.
Yeah, we did have a nice kiddush. That was pretty cool. That blue label, suddenly appeared from the Yemenite shul. Anyway, I had a few beers with you guys at my house, whoever came, but I drank a lot. Everyone needed a drink after that morning, but just to get back to the idea, without being like Noah and getting overly drunk, because he ended up castrated, the whole story. We have to everything in its right time, right place. And my thing is soulism. I feel like the whole movement right now in the world is anti-soulism. It's not anti-Semitism. Yeah, it is anti-Semitism, but it's really at a higher level. It's anti-soul. They don't want people of soul to have any soul in the world. They want to destroy it. What does a soul do for? What did Hitler write in Mein Kampf that soul does that he doesn't like? What does it bother about him? What would you say he connects to it? His words in his book, if you ever read it, is consciousness. He hates the fact you have a guilty conscience. If the soul constantly talks to you and says, but what about you have a soul? You're a spiritual being. You have a purpose. There's humanity. There's a bigger cause for humanity than just, pillage and stealing and raping. There's a bigger purpose than just immediate pleasures. Yeah? That's what the soul keeps telling you. And he doesn't want that voice in his head. He wants to just feel totally at peace with being pure evil. That's Hitler, Mechina. So he wanted to wipe out the people that remind him there's a soul. If he wipes out the people that reminds him there's a soul, then he has pure peace of mind. Remember I said to you about the idea of sitting on the beach with a martini. It's not just the great setting or the penthouse. I've had that before. What makes it work is having the peace of mind. The Yetzer Hara is not making you crazy. Yeah? It's not making you like the inner space is in a good space. The person you're with, you're really with. Like, that's another point. Not only do you have to have your own mission, I have my mission statement, but my wife has hers. My soulmate has hers, and it's not exactly like mine, let's be honest. She's not running my booking agency and making speeches and events, and she doesn't write about soul. Her mission statement is vitality for the soul. She's an exercise teacher. She does Magen David Adom. She's a volunteer. She's helping all the time during the week of Sukkot. Yeah, you want to get it? Yeah. We're all here together. Why not? No problem about it. So I was like sorting out the sukkah, and the knife went into my hand. The light starts going on. It's like squaring out my wrist. Yeah. So my wife comes running down, and I'm trying not to get blood everywhere, like over my clothes and all the house and stuff. My son's asleep. Imagine now, he's waking up to me like blood shooting out my wrist. Yeah, like, whoa, what's going on? He's like lying on the couch. What? And my wife comes flying in, grabs my wrist, holds the point, bleeding like you should, stops the bleeding, always put pressure at the place of bleeding, and it just stopped. It was great. It was like as if nothing. I had to get somewhere like that moment, just doing the last thing I needed to do. And then I was like, great, put plaster on, off I go. No ambulance, no whole sob story, like just get on with life. Because she's more about vitality of the soul. That's more her mission statement, yeah? Of well-being and emotional well-being. If I would sum it up, that's what I'd say hers. Now, that's a good balance. Because remember, when you're looking for your other half, we're talking about end of mind, having a mission statement for the guys who just came now. We're saying that Hamas have a really crazy mission statement to kill us. We are going to have a mission statement, each of us, and as a people that's obviously not like that. It's much better than theirs, that's for sure. But we have to be as all in as they are. Because they're all in. Like, I was listening to a podcast today. They went into the war with Israel. We'll get back to the woman thing in a minute. They went back into the war with Israel. They didn't come with like water flasks or anything that you would think so they could get back. Because usually when you siege a place or you go into another country, you have a whole, pillage and way to get back. So there was a whole group of them who wanted to kidnap, and they had the means to get back. There was a bunch of them went, kitted out, not to return. Meaning they were going there to just die. Yeah, they were going there to die. That means that's how all in these crazy MFs are. Yeah?
Also,
like big time. They really are. They're like all in. Go on.
Also, a lot of the Iranian forces in Syria, they're divided into two groups. Basically, with one being basically people like you that have been fighting wars since they're like 5.
Yeah.
So that they just go and they're praising the heads and just run and they get killed all the time.
Yeah.
And then they have like their actual fighters, which.
Okay, yeah, so they have a strategy like that, and they learned from the Iranians, I think. I think the people who trained them, the people who trained the Hamas forces to do what they just did, because it was a planned attack. As I said, they have a mission statement. It was a planned story, yeah? Sorry, man. So, so that's where we're at. Now, get back to the woman story, yeah? Now you need to find a woman that has some sort of mission statement, but remember, it's not going to be yours. This is an important trick. People don't know this. Yeah, this is why, like I was telling the guys, it just turned up. I did some research this last month. I went through the Netflix thing, Sex Education. You seen it?
No.
Good. So now I went through it, and like they don't really have such clear values, mission statements. Like it's very sort of all over the place, and that you can see why they get into all over the place relationships. Everything's a bit of a mess, a lot of emotions, a lot of like, they slowly get somewhere maybe, but it's almost like not even realistic anymore by the end of it. Like it's like it just gets a bit like fuzzy. It's not really like real life kind of. If you do, it got worse in a way. It was like real characters, and then it just went off the edge.
Yeah, it feels like it's just made up.
Yeah, just a bunch of fancy nonsense. Yeah, there's no such place.
It's too much.
Too much.
Like, there's no way that.
OTT, and that's where the value. That's where a lot of movies have been criticized recently. Like people said about Barbie. I hope none of you saw Barbie. Please, none of you saw Barbie. You saw it? So Barbie, I begged my wife not to go see it because she grew up loving Barbie. It's just like they're making too much of an effort with this whole woke business,
Yeah, exactly.
But then once again, if we're going to be honest, like Hamas, Mechina, they're all in with their philosophy to the point where they won't even have a good movie anymore, or a good series, or a good documentary. They'll just be all about their agenda. They're all in. Now, the problem is, a lot of the people who are good valued, like us, I hope, Bnei Akiva people, or Eretz Yisrael people, the problem is of us, we're like not totally all in, I would say, generally. Now, this war is going to make us all in, whether we want to be or not. And we're going to have to be all in to survive now the next time of our life. That's just where the world's heading. So it's pushing us now, and I believe this is coming from God, because I believe in God, and I believe He's running the world, not them. God is pushing the world, especially our people, to become all in. But the most important thing to be all in is to have the clarity. I really hope Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot, you all got some clarity about what you're about. Now remember, the first class we did was about being proactive. So I would say that's a pretty important mission statement, being kind, being caring. If you want a relationship with another person in this world, you're going to have to be thinking beyond yourself. As I said, the other half is not going to be like you. They're going to want to do the same things. They're not going to have the same interests. There's going to be some core values that connect, but there's going to, as I said, they're a different nation. We mentioned this last time. They really are. Everyone agreed with that. I remember when we spoke last time. The women are like another nation. They're like different. And in order to have, because otherwise if you think they're going to be like you, or they make too much of an effort to please you, to be what you want, then they're not really going to be happy that way. It has to come, there's a true connection and a respect for each other's differences and values and ways of being and ability to work together. That's really like, people talk about peace in the world. The hardest place to first get peace is between you and your soulmate. You'll see that. That's really where the real challenge is. And it's a daily thing. Now you get that sorted out, then you can start making peace in your community. Then you can start making peace in the nation, and then you can start making peace in the world. A lot of these people, like I would say, let's just say, imagine Hamas. I don't think their wives and husbands are living so peacefully. I believe it's a very, I don't want to say too much, but I assume the man pretty much runs the show and the woman's at his beck and call, I assume, on certain levels. Now, if they become a bit wokeized, so then it becomes the other way around. The women's the one running the thing. But where it's all messed up is that neither have respect for the other in the truest sense. They're not really seeing each other. It's all about their agendas and how to make peace between agendas. We're not about that. We're about learning to see the beauty in each other's mission, in each other's soul. This is something which will really make a difference. But you can't really do it until you've figured out your own. This is the problem. This is the first step. That's why we have to step back. We can't have a public victory until we've first got a private victory. That's going to be the name of the class. I'm not going to call it mission statement because that's obvious. I want all of us in Israel, in the Jewish people, and firstly, even more so, personally, each one of us in Bnei Akiva, to have a personal victory. Whatever that means. That means, we mentioned happiness, the key to happiness, we put it on the chat, is self-control on some level. Why? Because now you have self-mastery. You mentioned Bruce Lee. You want to be a master of you have to be a master at least of yourself before you can master anything else. Yeah, so that takes a lot of self-development. You know, like you see on these like programs, I don't know like what it was like for you, like the whole month of Tishrei. As I said, it was a holy time, and now we're going into the winter time. It's like different vibe. I don't know if you guys you experienced it here. I don't know how the program was. I mean, you tell me, was it like legit? Like they did it cool? You felt like you experienced something special here spiritually, like Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot.
We weren't here Rosh Hashanah. We were only here Yom Kippur, and it's Kol Ami and Boker.
But it wasn't here. It
wasn't here.
You were in Israel.
Yeah, we were in Israel.
So wherever you were in Israel, I'm sure it was pretty spiritual wherever you are. It doesn't have to be in the program. No? Tel Aviv? No, I mean I had like a guy, a student of mine. He was like in McDonald's on Rosh Hashanah, and he was like from a Hasidic family, and he was trying to get away from all that. Came to like a more like whacked out program where there was like drug dealers like as the main key players in the yeshiva, that kind of place. Yeah, and I was working there, and he went to McDonald's on Rosh Hashanah to buy tray food, like that's how he was feeling that day. And standing there in the restaurant next to him was a Chabad guy blowing the shofar. And he was like, I just wanted to get away from this. And now I had to hear the shofar in McDonald's buying tray. It's like sometimes you can't get away from it, whether you want to be involved or not. It's just part of the energy of Eretz Yisrael. Yeah? So, anyway, but I do feel all of you must have had some moment. There's always like a moment. I don't know what, like you're at a very happy family and you're like, wow, this is cool, I like really relate to this. Or you're at a really good kotel experience, or everyone has their moment, yeah? Even during this war, it's been the morale, especially of the young people, has been amazing from what I'm seeing, what I'm hearing around and around. Like all the famous guys are going around singing for everyone, and there's like a lot of unity, a lot of good energy, yeah? Even though it's very sad as well. Like there's also a lot of mourning and crazy stuff going on and crazy stories, and people are missing and it's crazy, but at a certain level, like there's a lot of like motivation to create the right morale. And once again, this is about mission. Like in the army, you have to have a mission. So I do believe, even if you're not officially in the army, like you're not signed up in the green uniforms with the guns, you're in our army. I was a teenager and I don't miss those days. It's not easy. But no, it isn't. Because you've got all the hormones, everything's kicking off.
Everyone says the opposite. They're like, we wish we were teenagers.
No. I live like in terms of the energy of a teenager, having that young like vibe, that I'm into. But the confusion of being a teenager, yeah, like nah, I don't want that again. Yeah, no thanks. You know what I'm talking about? I mean, you are a teenager now, like all the feelings, you don't know what to do, like the drives, like it's all new, like, huh?
That's pretty bar mitzvah.
Yeah, some people, peak at that age, at 13. I was already peaking pretty young. So by the time I was 16, 17, I'd had enough of that stuff, I'd already done enough by that point. So it was pretty funny. I did my teenage years pretty condensed. But so I already made big life choices already at 17, 18, 19. I was already in Israel. I was already very focused and I had a mission. So yeah, I grew up quick in that sense. But what I'm saying is that everyone's going to do it in their own way, in their own time. One of the things we mentioned last time is you have to sit down with a paper, or if anyone has pen and paper anymore, with your phone, write it down on a Word doc, or if you have some, I don't know what app it is, that you can write notes. Write down your mission statement. Write a title. What do you want in this life? Write a title, and then underneath write how you're going to get there. Like any company has a quarterly goals. Yeah, you need to make a system of how you're going to achieve some of these missions. This is going to be very important for the next class. We're going to talk about priorities. We mentioned it last time. We're going to get to priorities. Priorities. What's your priorities in life? Who's your priority? Who's it? What are you here for? What's your first things first? Because you can't get to the private victory until you've done these 3 steps. You can't get to your personal success until you first become a kind, giving person, like we mentioned last time. You've figured out what your goals, values, and dreams are. And thirdly, you're now bringing it into your daily schedule. It's become part of your life. You're living it. You have a very successful schedule. When I was your age already, I was running every day. I know I don't like it now, but God forbid me. I need to do more exercise. There's a pool opening up. I'm blaming it on the pool in the frat. I don't know if you heard about it, but it's been opening up for about 6 years. So eventually when that opens up, I'll be in there swimming and you'll suddenly see this slim guy walking in like I used to be. But until then, when I was your age, I was exercise, running, jogging, like a soldier, running along the beach when I was in Brighton. But it doesn't matter where I was. In yeshiva, I used to run around all of Israel. Like when I came to yeshiva, I was biking. I know it's a bit more dangerous these days, but back in the day, I would go to Lifta, which is like this place as you enter Jerusalem, and I'd ride down there and go for a dunk and then ride back up. And it was good times. I really enjoyed the land. You know, you have to get out there like a little bit. I know once again with safety and everything, but wherever's safe, but just use the campus, use the environment to like be like a David Goggins kind of vibe of like beating up your inner bitch, yeah? You have to like shout at yourself a little bit, get yourself moving. Like be an army sergeant for yourself a little bit. Another thing is I was very into the gym. I don't know if you guys work out. It's so important to like release all those hormones, all that extra energy that you're getting as a teenager and even when young 20s as well. Just to release that whole side of yourself. Even when Joe Rogan's doing it in his 50s, you have to keep going, yeah? The idea is, before I came here, I literally had a shower. Just before I had the shower, I do my quick workout. Yeah, I do a bunch of press ups, and I have a bunch of, what do you call them?
Curls.
Yeah, curls. I did a bunch of curls. Whatever quickly before I go into the shower, just to get muscles, body moving, and it's important. This is the kind of soldier style life. But it comes together with having goals, values, dreams. You first have to know what you're doing it for. Why do you need to have this healthy body? Because I want to have a long, healthy life. I want to be a soulful person, but I need to balance it out. That's what I was saying about the woman. My wife balances out my more soulful, abstract way of being, because she brings me down back to earth. When I told her that I'm going to be doing this class, and we've got a bat mitzvah, I mentioned, my youngest daughter, Mindel Tova. She's having her bat mitzvah tonight, tomorrow. We're going to make a party Wednesday with the community. Thank God I took her to London. I took her to a party with the family in Israel just before this war. Thank God we timed it over Sukkot perfectly. That she's got to see all the key people. And we're going to do something in Frat now the next day or so. So the idea, we're busy. There's a lot going on. But I asked my wife, in the busyness of all this, I asked my soulmate, said, I'm going to teach, I'm going to hang out with the guys now. I just got a confirmation. And she said to me, ask them where they're at. Where are you guys at? That's what her comment back to me, because she always brings me back down. I'm talking about abstract, the partial, this, that. She's like, no. And that's very important, that your other half will do that for you. She'll help you become more practical, more real, face your emotions, stuff you don't really want to do. Feels like a pain in the neck. But really, it's going to help you become a better person. And that's really the key. Gedalia says like this, Gedalia Fenster. He said, don't find a trophy wife. Yeah, you know what trophy wife is? Yeah? Like you've got these gold diggers, yeah? The nice, they see you with your, whatever it is. You told me the car, yeah? There's so many cool cars nowadays. I mean, and the electric ones as well. Huh? What cars? Bugatti, yeah. Well, you're getting a bit of Andrew Tate now. Huh? He's our enemy now, yeah. Andrew Tate, shame. He lost the Jewish vote. Shame. Anyway, you've got your nice Ferrari, whatever it is, brand new Tesla, and the gold digger girl, the trophy lady, she's there. Why? Because you've got money and she's got, you know what I'm saying, yeah? Trophy wife, yeah? Now, you don't want that woman, because she's not really there for you. She's there for your things, yeah? What do you want? You want a woman that's going to win you trophies. You get the difference? You hear this guy on my hat? This guy on the hat, don't forget that line. This guy on my hat, Michael Jordan, I'm sure he married someone who helped him win. Yeah? He definitely had a mother who helped him win. You've got to have people in your life help you win. Huh? No, he had a way. The film, you've seen it, I don't know, documentaries.
Yeah, I know the one you're talking about. The one on Netflix too?
Yeah,
Last Dance.
Last Dance.
Yeah.
He had people in his life who helped him win. It wasn't just him. You've got to have people who help you win. That's what it's about. No problem, man. So that's a big key to someone supports your goals and values and dreams. You have to find those kind of people. And that would make sense in the kind of woman you're looking for. Someone who's going to win you trophies, going to make you a success. And remember, success is always, relevant to who you are and what you're going through. Okay, so since my wife told me now it's your turn. Where are you at? Where are you up to? What's going on? Going through a war? Like, I don't know. Like, I personally, I felt my sex drive go down, like down curve when this all kicked off. It's not like the most romantic vibes, you know, when you're hearing about people being raped, and you know, it sort of kicks in. Unless you're a sicko, it kicks your head. It makes that whole energy just dissipate. I feel like that's, you know, like it's like the last on your mind. When there's a siren going off, you're not thinking about that, yeah? But nevertheless, it's not all sirens, thank God. We're not being killed, raped right this moment. And so being a human man...
You guys wouldn't be raped.
Yeah, no, they do. Saddam.
They
They can do that also, yeah.
They can't. Oh, what?
Maybe. I don't know. They did it to kids, maybe. I don't know. I'd rather not get into it.
It's also haram.
Yeah. But we want to do the...
Haram to do anything they do.
The key is, look, one, we have to remember, our purity as a people has been attacked, literally. Like, the image of Am Yisrael as a lady being raped by this beast of a person is really like, unfortunately, what just took place. Now, we can go on. We can get back to purity. We can get back to happy days and peace on earth. There's a way out of this. It's going to take a painful path. But there is, because we have a mission and a goal, and we're all in. It's not just like, you know, half in. We're all in. We're ready for this, like real. This is a class. We're all in. Yeah. This is not just like, you know, a walk in the park. So now each of you need to think about, where am I? What's my mission statement? How can I be all in a bit more? Everyone with little steps. Yeah. We don't want to take too big steps because then you just don't do anything. You got to like take small steps. I'll give an example. My son, on the day of that horrible, tragic day, which was really meant to be a beautiful Yom Tov, even though I did still experience the Yom Tov, but nevertheless, it was a terrible day historically. And even though Hashem's like, Eino Mavad is telling us there's nothing else but me, and the opposite, yeah, it's like pain. So on that day, my son had to get in a car, keeps Shabbos, drive up the hill to get a blessing from me before he goes off to the army. I haven't seen him since, like in face to face. We've talked a little bit. He hugged me. I gave him a bracha. I was in a bomb shelter that moment because there'd just been a siren before that. And he gets back in the car with his gun and everything, drives off, picks up his captain, does a whole drive around. Where's he end up? Before he gets to Jerusalem, he ends up going into a place called Givat Zev. The Machson comes down, smashes the window when he's driving with the captain and on a mission before getting to the base, smashes the window. Now the car, it wasn't his car, it's my daughter's car. And, you know, it was a crazy day. Thank God there was no prosecution, nothing happened, the police, nothing, everything was cool. But we had a broken car. Not only that, now he had to leave it in the central bus station. He had to get there quickly and get straight to his base. So now the cars are sitting in a central bus station. You tell me, a car sitting in a central bus station anywhere in the world, what's going to happen to it? Stolen, towed, yeah, tickets, this and that. I'm not going to say thank you Hashem, but it was a thank you Hashem in a certain sense because everyone's busy with the war, so no one's giving tickets or towing or anything. So we came there straight after Shabbat, saw the car, the smashed window and everything. Baruch Hashem, it's there. We get in it, it's able to drive, the glass hasn't come in, it's just cracked all the way through, but not to the point where it's coming into the car. We drive it back home and we ask around the community, what do you do with such a thing? They all tell us, now this is like the small steps. This is the small steps of making the world a better place. They take out their time and they tell us there's a place in Talpiot, you go there, you give them your insurance, they'll fix it, no questions asked. And they did. Today it got fixed. So even though it's a week later, and it's a small victory, but it means my daughter has a working car now. We didn't have to pay anything. My son managed to do what he had to do. He felt very guilty and he was worried that he'd have to pay my daughter back money for the fix. He's not going to have to pay anything. Everything's cool. Like, these are small little victories. How do we know about the place? Because people in the community take time out to care about each other, even during a war. They'll take a minute to message us and tell us, or phone us, or or discuss it. They said, I saw your message about it. This is the idea. We're all looking out for each other. This is the Jewish people. This is at a time of war. Small victory leads to big victories. Because if everyone is functioning better, Then we'll be able to defeat our enemy. That's all the chasodim going. I was helping an organization called Just One Chesed. They raised over $1 million for the soldiers this last week. Maybe it's even more now. Yeah, the guy I mentioned before, Gedalia Fenster, the one who said trophy wife, rather get a wife that wins you trophies, that line. He raised, I think it's now 120,000, something like that now. He's basically, it's over, I think he's got $64,000 worth of donations and he's doubling it, what he's giving. So that would be 128,000, I think, where he's at right now. So he's giving towards, I mean, this is like the amount of mobilization of the Jewish people in America and the world, and a lot of my people from London and Europe, they've been giving, because they want us to succeed, they want us to win. You understand? That's the people. They're the ones who are going to help us win trophies. We're in this together. This is the idea. When you have a mission statement, you know your goals are bigger than just what Hamas want, which is destroy us. Your goals are, and a rabbi once said this, we'll end on this point, it's world domination. That's what the Jewish people want, but not in a evil way. We don't want to rule the world for evilness. What do we want? What's the world domination we want? What's it about? Yeah, goodness, man. We're only here to help everyone. Everyone's going to love us. They're going to be like half the world is. They're going to be helping us. They're on our side. Ultimately, it'll be the whole world. The whole world's going to be with us. It's not going to be world domination like a dictator, God forbid. It's going to be, they're going to want us to be in a position of inspiration and knowledge to help the world reach a higher place. It's not going to be world domination in the negative sense. It's going to be the light that we have to offer will come forth and they will want it. They will want to learn from us. It says there's going to be thousands of non-Jews hanging off our tzitzis, if you have them. Yeah, it's going to be thousands. I mean, one of the things they've been doing in Efrat, in Shirat David, I don't know if you know, but they've been making thousands of pairs of tzitzis for the soldiers. Yeah. And these thousands. You did it?
Yeah, that's when I saw you.
Oh, that day. But they're still doing it. They're on the third cycle already. And there's been thousands of dollars donated for this. And people are wearing tzitzis. And people who are not religious are wearing tzitzis because they want to have the protection. And ultimately, we're going to teach the world everything about our uniqueness, our special mission. Now, to get back to intimacy, if you could take that documentary now, or whatever it is, that funny program on Netflix, you can see that they're just so lost in these kind of things. Like, I don't know if anyone comes out of that with a solid relationship. Anybody. I think they're all just broken relationships at the end of it. So that shows they might have their so-called values that they, they're like all proud about. But at the end of the day, none of them have actually come out with long-lasting relationships that mean anything long-term. Our relationships are eternal. That's what I'm trying to say. Our connection with the other half is an eternal thing. And all of us have that ability to find that in this world. That's my promise to all of you. You will find your soulmate. And there'll be challenges. And you'll say, well, what about the one that got divorced? Okay, so you'll find your real soulmate. That might have been like a level of a soulmate, but not the final, ultimate soulmate. There's levels, yeah? So there's different zvugim, there's different souls who you're going to connect with. Ultimately, if you want it, you will get it. If it's your goal to find your soulmate, and that's a big part of this course, if you have that as part of your mission statement, that you want to find your soulmate, I had it as part of mine, that's all those stories I told you about in university, all those stories where girls were like trying to jump into bed with me and I said no, like real stuff. No, I'm being honest, yeah? All those stories, I'll send a picture. I did some modeling for the WWF, yeah? I'll send Heartbreak. I was modeling the Heartbreak Kid. Who remembers him? Sean Hart. Sean Hart? Anyone remember Sean Hart? Remember, I'm too old. Yeah? Sean Hart he was called the Heartbreak Kid. I was modeling his stuff. Like he had to be a good looking dude to wear his clothes and model him. So I used to do that. WWF is WWE nowadays. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Red Wrestling Entertainment, yeah? So I'll send a picture on the chat. But the point is that I always had an interest to find my soulmate, and that's what kept all those silly potential relationships that would have just wasted my time. That kept them away. Because if it wasn't a deeper, real thing, I mean, I wasn't like that originally. As I said, I got it out of my system young. But once I started maturing and realized that, around your age, I was already aware of it. And I did know my soulmate by that point. I was very close with her. I met her in the gym because I was disciplined doing exercise. I wasn't just smoking pot all day or weed or whatever, just sitting on the couch playing video games. Even then in that world, I had more structure to my day. Yeah. So now, I'm just saying. So that's where I met my soulmate, in the gym. Yeah, in good shape. You're going to meet your wife. You want to be looking your best. You don't want to be like some flabby, half asleep stonehead. Yeah. No, I'm serious. You want to make a good impression. First impressions last. Yeah.
You can do both. You can balance your life out.
Some women there's this whole thing. They like to find a guy they think they can change and nurture and all that stuff, but it doesn't usually work. So they get disappointed in the results generally, and then they get really pissed off about it, and then you have to deal with it. So it's better just to be in your ultimate state, physically, emotionally, spiritually, as best as you can be. And now that mission begins now. It's not something and it began before you came here also. So my blessing for you guys, write down some sort of mission statement, even if it's short. If you want to talk to me about it, message me. I'm happy to be DM'd and discuss it. I have mine clear. It's all over everything I do, my branding, my work, this class. It's all about bringing it to your real life, how to make it practical so it starts impacting real life. We'll talk about that more next time. And that will help you tune into that other person, because the more good place you are, the more good place she'll be in. And if you're playing around, she'll be playing around. And no one wants a girl playing around. Let's just be honest, yeah? So, and that happened to me. I was playing around, and my first real long girl relationship, she was playing around. But I started it, and that's what it led to. And that's a heartbreaker if you really care about the other person. So, and you don't want to go there. It's a painful process. So, anyway, everyone should be blessed with, with good news, and we should pray for all our soldiers. Do what you can to help the cause. Come make some sitzes or whatever it is. Be an ambassador. Talk to your family back home that you're proud about this. If they live here already, give them the support they need. Every parent's going through crazy thoughts right now. Things are unstable. Have a little bit of mercy on your parents as well, because they're probably freaking out a little bit. Have mercy on the staff here, because they're literally miluim. They're make it easy for them. Don't try burn down the dorms during this time period or something, Make crazy parties. Make it easy for them. Just have a little bit of mercy. That's your contribution. Each of you can contribute by making it a little bit easier for everyone around. And, my contribution is by being here, because I feel that you guys are an important part of the Jewish army. And, win the battle, man. Let's win. We're in to win. Let's go.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Pleasure.